not to see by, but to look at. Just for the beauty of it. There is so much hope embodied in that. And I think of how we celebrate Hanukkah now compared to what the first Hanukkah was. And all the hope it embodies. And I wonder if it's not a good idea sometimes to just pause. Just pause. And look at the light. And take it in. And consider these things. Hanukkah means rededication. We celebrate this holiday to remember a victory, a rededication. When the Maccabees were able to take back the temple and rededicate it. And we celebrate it for 8 nights to remember the miracle of the oil. So the story is that Judas Maccabee, and that's Maccabee means hammer. So Judah the hammer, that wasn't their real name. They were Hasmoneans, if you're interested, was their name, the family name, but he's been given the moniker Maccabee. Judah the hammer and his brothers were fighting the Greeks, and the temple had been desecrated, and they cleaned it up. And there's an eternal flame that burns in front of or by the Ark of the Covenant, where the Torah, the instruction, is kept. And if you go into any synagogue today, you will see the eternal flame. It's usually electric these days. But it's always there, it's always lit. And they only found enough oil to burn for 1 day, and it was going to take 8 days. There was a supply chain issue. You know, we're having those these days. You might be familiar with that. There was only enough oil for the 1 day, but they lit it anyway. They had faith and hope. They lit it, and they went out to get more oil. And lo and behold, the oil lasted the 8 days it took to get the new oil and bring it back. And so the flame kept going. And so today we celebrate for 8 days. But I think what it must have been like for that first Hanukkah. You know, if you've ever cleaned up after a big mess, it does feel good to have a place all fixed up again, but there's an exhaustion. And it's not like everybody was there with them. It's not like, because big temple festivals are times when people came from all over and came to the temple. It's not like the whole nation was there to celebrate with them. It's just Judah and his brothers, just a small group. And sometimes, you know, after you do a big thing like that, there's that initial high of having completed it, and then there's kind of a letdown a lot of times afterwards when you don't have all that stuff to do anymore. I expect it wasn't the party that we tend to have now. I don't know if it was solemn, but I wonder if they weren't just all a bit done in, worn out, exhausted. I wonder if any of you are exhausted. I bet there was a lot of uncertainty too. What next? You know, when you meet a big goal, it's really great. Oh, we've got the temple back. Now what? Now what? What comes next? I wonder if you're feeling any uncertainty. You know, we had hoped to be meeting in person. Maybe around now or December. Things had been getting better for a while and then they started to get worse again. And that's a big unknown, isn't it? We have had a lot of uncertainty. But there is one thing I can tell you and one thing I do know. Last week, we had a congregational vote, and I'm delighted to report to you that well over the quorum of 25 necessary participated. 78 votes were cast, and 91% cast a vote for our temporary space, our next temporary rental space, to be the Lehigh Valley Active Life Center in Allentown. So that's something that we know. Now, I can't tell you when we'll be able to start meeting there because I don't have a crystal ball into the future. But that's where the hope and the great miracles come in. So are you ready for a Hebrew lesson? Are you ready for a Hebrew lesson? Can I see some heads nodding? Okay. I mean, we're talking about a Jewish holiday today. You knew you were going to get one, right? So I bet lots of you know that the game we play at Hanukkah is the dreidel game. We spin a dreidel atop. And maybe you know that there are Hebrew letters on the dreidel. The Hebrew letters stand for the words Nes Gadol Haya Sham. So I'm going to ask you to say after me, Nes, say Nes. That means miracle. Nes means miracle. Gadol, say Gadol. That means great. Haya, Haya, can you say Haya? That means happened, occurred. Sham, can you say Sham? That means there. A great miracle happened there. So here's the secret. If you're in Jerusalem or perhaps all of Israel, the dreidels have a different last letter. They say Nes Gadol Haya Po, a great miracle happened here, but we're not there, we're here, so we say there. Did I confuse you enough? A great miracle happened there. So we play a game to remind us of the miracle. We light the Chanukiah. So menorah, here's another Hebrew word. Menorah means lamp. It just means any lamp. So if you turn on a reading lamp by your bedside, you've turned on your menorah. So this is a Hanukkah menorah because it's a special lamp. It has the 8 regular candles and the helper candle, the shamash. So 9 altogether. So we call it either a Hanukkah menorah or a Chanukiah. And in all of this, we're remembering, we're rededicating, but what are we rededicating ourselves to? The temple no longer exists. There was one temple, it was in Jerusalem, it's gone. We are rededicating ourselves. We're hopeful. The great miracle. We remember a great miracle happened. So I promised I was going to tell you about how Hanukkah happens again and again. Well, for me, you know, when I've been in school, and I've spent a lot of time in school, I'm one of those people. It happens other times too, but I notice particularly when I have due dates and a lot of things due all at once, lots of papers and exams coming up all at once. And I think, how is this ever going to happen? And I realized it's much like Hanukkah. I can't imagine how it's ever all going to get done. And then a great miracle happens, and it does. It's like Hanukkah. What in your life is like Hanukkah? What are things that you think, how is this ever going to happen? I can't imagine how it's ever going to happen. And then a great miracle happens, and it does happen. What are the great miracles in your life? Now, I think the secret, are you ready? I think the secret is that I hold on to the hope. I have faith. I believe. I believe it will, so it does. Perhaps you're feeling, how are we ever going to meet together in person again? I just don't know. But that's where the great miracle comes in. Do you believe? Because I believe. I believe. I know that we must do things to keep each other safe. I know that we must act collectively to protect one another. And I believe in the great miracle. I have hope. I believe that we will do this. That we will get through this. That we will be together in person once more. Not only that, not only will we be together once more, but we will be better than we were before because we will have learned new things. We will be stronger. Now, Hanukkah is not a major Jewish holiday. It's one that's celebrated mainly at home But it's an important one. It's important nonetheless, because it reminds us of our inner strength. It reminds us to hold on to that faith and that hope. And it also reminds us to make space for fun and to find ways of enjoying ourselves, no matter our circumstance. So if you have a Hanukkah menorah, if you light a menorah at home, I would like to invite you to send pictures of your Hanukkah menorah over the course of Hanukkah this year to me, to share in the service next week. Hanukkah goes for 8 days. It begins tonight at sunset, which means that next Sunday night will be the last night of Hanukkah. I'm putting in the chat my email address. I'm going to do it again because I'm going to send it to everyone. It's minister@uuclvpa.org, and you can send your pictures of your Hanukkah menorot, that's plural, your Hanukkah menorahs, to me. Send pictures of yourself with your menorah or just the menorah, whatever you like, and I will share them in the service next week. And we will put them on our social media as well. So if you send them, understand that we will use them. Let's shine our light in the darkness. Let's remember that we are connected in so many ways. We are a community together. Our light is strong. Don't let the light go out.